Alright mates, I'm Alex and thanks for checking out another video. Today we're going to be looking at Mammal Hand's Shift. We got Jesse Barrett on drums, and as well as being an insane drummer, he also composes the tunes and he plays tabla, so what an absolute legend, mate. And of course, the drums to tracks by Mammal Hands are super interesting, but for me, one of my favourite things about his playing is more about the tone he gets out of his drums and his touch on the kit. It's all just super tasteful. So I tap shift out at about 160 BPM, so it's pretty fast, it's getting up there. So let's have a quick listen to how it sounds and then we'll have a little look at what's going on. What an absolute banger, man. And I'm sure that you might have noticed that during that playthrough, I didn't actually play the song note for note, but instead, I was more just improvising around the concepts that we're going to look at today. And after this lesson, I would fully recommend that you try out the same thing too, because like with most of the tracks that we look at on this channel, it's highly likely that the drum parts would actually be improvised around a theme and played slightly different every time anyway. So let's get into the A section, and to start things off, we're just going to look at the first two bars and we're going to strip out all of the extra stuff and just look at the rhythmic framework, the very basics of what our groove is made up of. So you've got eighth notes up on the ride cymbal. I'm actually going to play on the crash because it sounds quite nice for the tune. And then in bar one, we've got our bass drum on beat one and beat 4. And we're going to play a cross stick on beats 2, 3 and 4 and. So that gives you bass, bass, snare, snare, bass, snare, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. And then in the second bar, we're going to play the exact same thing, but without playing our bass drum on beat 1. So the real challenge here is just the tempo. So at 160, so it's pretty fast, but it's not mental. So jump onto your kit and let's see if we can play it together. Cool, so we got the bare bones of the groove. Now we're just going to add in 3 extra notes. So we're adding in a cross stick on the of beat 2 and the of beat 3. And then we're going to add in 1 extra ride cymbal on the E of beat 3. And although we're just adding in 3 extra notes, this actually makes the groove quite a lot harder to play. And if you have a look at beats 2 and 3 of the bar, we've now got quite a tricky sticking. So you're going to play together, right, left, together, right, right, left. 2 and 3 E and Some areas to watch out for here are the pull-out stroke played in your cross stick from the of beat 2 into the downbeat of beat 3, and also those 3 ride cymbals in a row, 3 E and. This is quite tricky, so I'd recommend just slowing it right down and working on this sticking before you put it back into the groove. But if you feel like you've got it down, let's give it a go together. And because there's quite a lot going on in here, I'll play it for you at half speed and then at full speed. Nice work, my dude. So if you've got that down, we're now going to extend our groove into a 4-bar phrase. And of course, in the track, Jesse Barrett is going to improvise his bass drum pattern to complement what the other musicians are playing. But I've written out some phrasing for us to jump off from. So bar 3 is going to be played the same as bar 2. And in bar 4, it starts off the same, but I've left a space on beat 4 of the bar for a variation. And although you can play whatever you want here, I would just bear in mind that this is a variation rather than a fill. So it doesn't need to be anything technical. It could be something as simple as opening a hi-hat, playing a buzz stroke, hitting a crash, whatever you want to add in there. experiment, and let's see if we can have some fun with it. Come on, mate, such a sick sounding groove and super fun to play, man. So if you have a look at your notation, what you'll see is that I've written out a groove called A2, and it really is the same part of the track, but Mammal hands just take it up a gear. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna move our left stick from a cross stick position back onto the main part of our snare. And again, on beat 4 of the 4th bar, you've got that space for a little variation. So you can experiment and see what you can come up with, but really, the concepts are just the same, so let's get straight to the kit and have a blast. So before we move into this sick halftime B section, what I would fully recommend is take the concepts that we've learned so far today and see if you can start to improvise with them. So I'm just going to play you a short improvisation, and I'm no longer going to stick to the exact bass drum pattern that we learned in our rhythmic framework. Instead, I'm going to play with a lot more freedom, but hopefully still trying to lock in with the overall feel of the song, whilst also putting my own spin on it. So much fun to play, man, and so much opportunity to make it your own. So as we move into the B section, we're going to change into a halftime feel. So all that means is moving our backbeat to beat 3 of the bar. And again, let's break it down to the absolute basics. So we'll just look at a rhythmic framework for a 2-bar phrase. Bar 1, you're just going to play your bass drum on beat 1. In bar 2, you're going to play your bass drum on beat 1 and beat 2. So this is really nice and simple, so there should be no problems here. So jump onto your kit and we'll see if we can smash it out. Cool, so really nice and simple. So we're just gonna fast track our groove a little bit. So what I'd recommend doing is go and have a listen to the song and see if you can listen out for some of the phrases that Jesse Barrett plays throughout the section. So in particular, I'd listen out for where he plays his bass drum and where he starts to place ghost notes within the groove. As the section develops, your bass drum pattern will start to follow what the other instruments start to play. But for now, let's just start to improvise a little bit with it. So experiment with where you play your bass drums, where you place your ghost notes, but try and keep the tune in mind so that we can keep it sounding as authentic as we possibly can. Nice work, my dudes. So definitely have a little play along with the track as you start to transition from one section to the other. And as always, I'd recommend just taking out the concepts and experimenting with them so that you can make them your own and start to incorporate them into your own playing. Something else you could have a go at is stepping your hi-hat on quarter notes, eighth notes, and offbeat eighth notes. All of these will slightly change up the feel, so experiment and see what you like the sound of. This is actually going to be the last video of the year because I'm going to go home and visit my family for a couple of weeks, so I'll be back with you on the 6th of January. So I just wanted to say, if you celebrate Christmas, have a wicked Christmas. If you don't, hopefully you get some time off over the holidays anyway, but either way, thank you so much for following the channel. Have a happy new year and I'll catch you in 2021.
Mm-hmm.